The deadliest female pilots in history. Eastern Front, 1942. Germans hear a sound like wind through fabric, then explosions. No one sees them coming. No engine noise, no warning, just death from above. They called them Nachthexen, the night witches. Soviet women flying ancient crop dusters made of plywood and canvas. The Nazis were so terrified, they gave automatic iron crosses to anyone who could shoot one down. This is the story of the deadliest female pilots in history and the hell they unleashed on Hitler's army. 1941, Nazi Germany invades the Soviet Union. Within months, they are at Moscow's doorstep. The Red Army is hemorrhaging men, millions dead, millions more captured. Stalin is desperate. Enter Marina Raskova, the Soviet Union's Amelia Earhart. She is a famous aviator, a national hero, a record breaker, and she has a radical idea. Women, combat pilots, flying night bombing missions. Stalin's generals laugh in her face. They say women cannot handle combat. Women belong in factories, in hospitals, nursing the wounded, not dropping bombs on the Wehrmacht. War is a man's game. It always has been. But Raskova does not back down. She has flown across Siberia, set long-distance records, and survived crashes that would have killed lesser pilots. She goes straight to Stalin himself, and somehow he says yes. In October 1941, Raskova is given authorization to form 3 all-female air regiments. Pilots, navigators, mechanics, ground crew. Everyone is female. Thousands of women volunteer. Farm girls, teachers, factory workers, university students. Most have never seen combat. Some have barely flown. Many are teenagers, 17, 18, or 19 years old. But they are angry. Their brothers are dead. Their fathers are dead. Their country is burning. German tanks are rolling through their villages, and they want revenge. The 588th Night Bomber Regiment is born. But there is a problem. The Soviet Air Force does not have planes to spare. No modern bombers, no fighters. Everything is going to the front lines, to the male pilots flying the real missions. So they give the women the Polikarpov Po-2 biplanes. Crop dusters. Biplanes designed in 1928 to spray pesticides on farms. Open cockpits. Canvas wings stretched over wood frames. No guns, no radios, no armor, no parachutes. Maximum speed 94 miles per hour. Slower than a modern car on the highway. The payload, 4 bombs, 220 pounds total. A modern bomber carries 10 times that amount. The women stare at these death traps and realize the truth. Command expects them to fail. Command expects them to quit after the first mission. Command expects them to die quietly, so everyone can say women just cannot cut it. Instead, they climb into the cockpits and they become ghosts. The Polikarpov Po-2 is so slow, so primitive, that it becomes invisible. German radar systems are designed to track fast-moving aircraft, and the Po-2 barely registers. It flies lower than modern fighters can follow without stalling out, at treetop level, sometimes just 30 feet off the ground. And because it is made of wood and fabric, it barely shows up on detection equipment. No metal signature, just a shadow in the darkness. The women exploit this and turn it into their greatest weapon. They fly at night, pitch black, low altitude, sometimes just above the treetops, following rivers and roads by memory. No lights, radio silence, complete blackness. And here is the genius part. They cut their engines. Mid-flight, thousands of feet in the air, they kill the engine and glide silently over German positions. The only sound is wind whistling through the canvas wings, a soft rustling, like silk tearing. The Germans called it the sound of death. By the time they hear it, bombs are already falling. The technique is insane. You are gliding a flimsy biplane in total darkness, navigating by instinct, hoping you do not slam into a tree. and you have to judge the glide perfectly. Release the bombs at exactly the right moment. Too early, you miss. Too late, you are in the blast radius. Then, you restart the engine mid-glide and pray it catches before you hit the ground. Most pilots would never attempt this once. The night witches do it 15 times a night, every single night. The women carry 4 bombs per plane. Not much, but they do not fly 1 mission a night. They fly 8, 10, 15 missions, every single night, all night long. Land, reload, take off, bomb, repeat, no rest, no breaks. Just endless cycles of terror raining down on the Wehrmacht. The ground crews, also all women, work like machines, reloading bombs, refueling planes, patching bullet holes with fabric and glue. Some nights, the pilots are in the air for 8 hours straight. And the Germans? They lose their minds. Imagine this. You are a German soldier on the Eastern Front. It is 2 in the morning. You are exhausted, cold, hungry. You finally fall asleep in your trench. Then you hear it, that whisper, that rustling. You look up, see nothing, just darkness. Then, boom, an explosion 50 meters away. Your buddy is gone. You scramble for cover, grab your rifle, fire blindly into the sky. Nothing. Silence. You think it is over. Then the sound comes again, from a different direction. Closer. Boom. Another explosion. Another man dead. This goes on all night, every night. You cannot see them, cannot shoot them, cannot predict where they will strike next, cannot sleep. You are being hunted by ghosts. The psychological warfare is devastating. German soldiers develop severe insomnia, panic disorders, shell shock. They refuse to sleep at night. They huddle in bunkers, eyes wide, rifles pointed at empty sky. Morale collapses. Desertion rates spike. Some soldiers shoot themselves rather than endure another night. And the night witches, they are just getting started. The planes are so flimsy, one tracer round turns them into fireballs. No armor, no protection, just wood and canvas soaked in fuel. They fly in thin cotton flight suits in temperatures of -40 degrees. The open cockpits offer zero protection. Frostbite is common. Some lose fingers, toes, entire hands freeze to the controls. They stuff their uniforms with newspapers for insulation. They wrap their faces in scarves, but nothing helps. When you are flying at 200 feet in the middle of a Russian winter, at 100 miles per hour, you freeze. And remember, no parachutes. The Soviet Air Force says the planes are too small, and adding parachutes would reduce bomb capacity. In other words, you are more valuable dead with bombs than alive without them. So when a plane gets hit, and they get hit constantly, the women have 2 choices: ride it down and hope you survive the crash, or burn alive in midair. Most choose the crash. Nadezhda Popova, one of the most decorated night witches, gets shot down multiple times. She crash lands behind enemy lines. She evades German patrols for days. She walks back to Soviet lines through snow and minefields. She gets in another plane, and she flies again that same night. She completes 852 missions. She survives the entire war. She lives to be 91 years old. Ekaterina Ryabova and Nadezhda Popova once flew 18 missions in a single night. 18. Their ground crew could barely reload fast enough. The plane's engine overheated. The wings were shredded with bullet holes. They kept flying. The Germans are so terrified, so humiliated by these women, that Hitler himself issues a directive. Any pilot who shoots down a night witch receives an automatic Iron Cross, one of Germany's highest military honors. Think about that. You get the same medal for shooting down 1 crop duster flown by a woman as you would for destroying 10 Soviet tanks. That is how badly the night witches are breaking the Wehrmacht spirit. But the cost is brutal. 30 night witches are killed in action, shot down, crashed, burned alive. Bodies never recovered. Their average age is 22 years old. Some are even younger. Teenagers who lied about their age to enlist. Girls who should have been in university. Instead, they are flying suicide missions over frozen battlefields. One pilot, Yevgenia Rudneva, flies her final mission on the last day of the war, April 1945. Berlin is falling. Victory is days away. Her plane is hit by anti-aircraft fire. The plane spirals down, engulfed in flames. She crashes and dies on impact, 24 years old. The war ends 3 days later. The night witches flew over 23,000 combat missions. They dropped 3,000 tons of bombs. They destroyed hundreds of German vehicles, supply depots, and ammunition dumps. But the numbers do not tell the real story. The real story is the fear, the mythology. German soldiers wrote letters home describing the night witches as demons, as witches riding broomsticks, as supernatural forces that could not be killed. That is not war reporting. That is mythology. That is terror so deep it breaks rational thought. And the women? They leaned into it. They painted stars on their fuselages, one for every mission flown. Some planes had so many stars there was barely room for more paint. They wore their frostbite scars like badges of honor. They showed off missing fingertips and joked about crash landings over dinner. They sang songs mocking the Germans as they flew overhead, laughing and taunting. They were not just fighting a war, they were proving a point. They were rewriting history in real time. When the war ends, 23 night witches are awarded Hero of the Soviet Union, the highest military honor in the USSR. 23 women. Out of thousands of male pilots, only 23 women earned this honor, and all of them flew wooden biplanes that could not even outrun a car. But here is the tragedy. The West ignores them. After the war, their story disappears. The Soviet Union does not publicize them much. They are an embarrassment to the male-dominated military hierarchy. The West dismisses them as Soviet propaganda. Exaggerations. No way women could have been that effective. For decades, the night witches are forgotten, erased, written out of history books. The survivors return to civilian life, become teachers, engineers, mothers. They do not talk about the war much. Who would believe them anyway? It is not until the 2000s, 60 years later, that their story resurfaces. Historians dig through Soviet archives, interview the few remaining survivors, and the world finally learns the truth. These were not just pilots, they were warriors, legends, ghosts who turned the tide of history from the cockpits of wooden planes held together by canvas, glue, and spite. No parachutes, no guns, no armor, no mercy, just rage, just vengeance, just women who refused to let the world tell them they could not fight. The night witches, the deadliest female pilots in history, and the Nazis never saw them coming. Want more untold stories of World War II's most fearless warriors? Subscribe and hit the bell.